so I've got the top 5 beginner mistakes that I don't want you to make when you're starting out in stained glass. All right, so number 1 on the list is starting out with opalescent glass. So if you're getting started, there's 2 types of glass that you're gonna run into. There is the opalescent glass, which is opaque and it is not see-through. And then there's the cathedral glass, which is the see-through type. So I've found that the cathedral glass will cut a lot easier. So start off with that to get a feel for it and see how the glass cutting process works. And once you get a little bit used to it, then I would suggest you go on to the opalescent glass. Plus also the cathedral glass is a lot cheaper when you buy them, so you won't waste all that money when you're just starting out. And number 2 is starting off with using a standard pliers instead of the running pliers. So when I was starting out, I did try to use a pair of standard pliers to break the glass. That's definitely not recommended. The running pliers is made specifically to break the glass. There's a feature on them that has the curved jaw to push the glass in a way to break it. And plus they're only like $10. So go invest in a pair of running pliers. You're gonna need them. So don't try to use any old pliers for this job. So we're at number 3 in beginner stained glass mistakes, and that is using anything but a glass grinder to grind your glass. All right, so when you're just starting out, you won't have a glass grinder just yet. It is one of the most expensive things that you can buy in this entire project, but it doesn't mean that you can just try to use anything to grind your glass. So the mistake that I made was that I used a disc sander when I was starting out because I had access to it. It's definitely not a machine that was made to grind glass. I could have injured myself. A lot of things could have gone wrong, so I would advise against using one, something that's not meant for the job. But the other alternative is to use a carborundum stone. I would only use this for the straighter cut pieces or something that is already a good cut, and you just need to file down some of those sharp points and not to take away material of the glass. So be safe, use a glass grinder or a carborundum stone. All right, moving along here to number 4, and that is not burnishing your copper foil. So we're starting out and we go to do the copper foiling. It may seem that you can just wrap it around real quick and then call that good, but that's definitely not the case. You really need to burnish the copper foil onto the glass as much as possible. So that is just really pressing it into the glass so it doesn't peel when you go to do the soldering. Now, when I was starting out, I was using my fingers to apply the copper foil, but then I learned and started using a wooden stick. But as of right now, I'm using a fid tool, so I would highly recommend using a fid tool to burnish your copper foil. Okay, all right, let's get away from the crowd a little bit. So this is like the center of Osaka, by the way. All right, so we're at the final count of number 5 in stained glass beginner mistakes, and that is using the wrong type of solder for stained glass. When I was first starting out and trying to gather all the tools and materials and get everything for my kit, I didn't buy solder because I had thought that solder was just solder. And so when I went to do the soldering, everything was a mess and it wasn't cooperating at all. I ended up using this electronic solder with rosin core. It's basically this tree sap that's inside the solder. So you can see in my first project, there are these amber spots all over the solder. So what I've found is to use this solid core 60-40 type when you're doing stained glass work. That's what I use right now. Everything is gonna be nice and shiny for you. So go with that and make sure you're using the 60-40 type and not anything else as a beginner. Whoa! That's cool. All right, you guys, thank you so much for an amazing year. I had such a fun time doing all these projects. We'll continue to do a lot more fun stuff in the future. So happy holidays, and I'll see you guys next time.